And hello everyone, I'm Dan Lutz, and I am here all by myself for the moment. I have not reached tank yet, though my timing was a little bit off, so I actually ended up falling back to sleep. So I was I didn't get up at my traditional time, and then I was waiting for Tank to come on and wasn't able to reach him. So I don't know if he was on here earlier or not, waiting for me or not. But anyway, I just got it started and figured, well, he'll jump on if he's still able to. But anyway, I'm here on the front lines, and this is the place where we face off against the Cabal, the Deep State, the Illuminonkeys, and all those that wish to enslave all of humanity for their own selfish reasons. And a lot going on, really overwhelming on so many different levels. The daily briefings from Trump, I saw the latest one, and when you're listening to him give his daily briefings, he is literally speaking, having two speeches at the same time. He's literally talking about the virus, right? And then he switches, like, almost in mid-sentence, and then adds about the invisible enemy. Now, maybe he's not saying an invisible enemy each time, but you can see there's quite a difference between the two speeches that he's giving. And really, like today, he was speaking from saying, there's 182 countries that are in this battle against the hidden enemy, and that things are it's tough, right? But we've got to do this. So it's very interesting that today what he said was literally along the lines that I was just saying, that he's giving two speeches. I mean, he didn't say that, but he did say that they are giving that this is a very focused. I don't understand how to say what he was saying. Sorry, still a little out of it for putting things together. But I was, but I did, remark at how well he was basically dancing between the two sides. But he literally was saying that, like, this war is still going on. In other words, so even though the COVID war is being won, the like that front line is over. The other side, the other battle is continuing. It's actually, almost as though he is giving like two battle reports at the same time. So anyway, it's just fascinating to see him do this. Oh, what he did, I remember one of the things he said was he was calling out the press, right? And he's been doing that consistently. But in this time, he was while he's calling them out, he's calling them out against new people in the press. If you saw today, CNN wasn't there. Jim Acosta was not there. There was new groups And it's just a subtle difference, right? Because he said, "Well, who are you, right? Where are you from?" And he said, and the guy proceeded to read a question, right? Because he didn't know who he was, right? And there's a lot of in that group that were new, so it seems like there may have been even a replacement of different individuals going on. I don't know if it's one at a time. I just kind of started noticing a couple of new people coming up. And I wonder if they're actually replacing the people there. But after he read the question, Trump could tell, he could sense, that this was one of those setup questions. And he kind of put the reporter in that place, right? And he said, "Go ahead, read your question." You know, and he said, just like the guy in the question, they referred to another guy that was what he calls himself an independent, and Trump said that guy's not independent. You know, he's a Democrat. He just uses that as a say for some reason it says he's not biased. He's completely biased. But you go ahead and read your question just like he's read his question. So he's putting the press in their place consistently, and maybe he's been replacing the press. Just something to notice. Maybe Jim Acosta shows up again. Who knows? Maybe it's just because it's the weekend. Who knows? Maybe because they decided they're not going to carry it. Because Trump said in this one that he gets to address the people in these briefings. He said it, where they wouldn't carry it otherwise. So he's able to bring out the information that is happening in the, say, Russian collusion in the FISA. He said, we're declassifying things, and now things are coming out. He said it, and he said, "Listen, guys, talking to the audience, I can address you now because they're not going to cover this otherwise." And he's kind of putting it right into the other speech. He kind of like I said, pauses there and continues another speech. Just fascinating how this is unfolding. So anyway, since we've been talking about Trump, let me switch gears here a little bit and talk about some news items, some interesting things, something I even picked up on yesterday. So let me go ahead and let me pull this up. Now this is came through on our Telegram group, wwg1wga.love Telegram group. There we go. I'll make this a little bit larger. So this is from Fractals in Rows. And we're really talking about the White House Twitter feed. And it's very interesting because, in the background that you can see here, there is, the Air Force One. And this little tiny character coming down out of the Air Force One is the president. But that's not the most interesting part about this. It's really down here by the jet engine. And the press that's over here. And look at the height difference. This guy's twice as tall. So how tall is this guy? Now there may be some differences in how far back they are. Are they under the wing? Are they forward on the wing? There's not really a shadow of this guy. There's a little bit of an impression at his feet. So it's kind of interesting, right? So what does that really lead us to? What's in this? Now this is an official Twitter account. So she's saying here, when you zoom in, you'll see what appears to be a giant-sized man. People have been debating whether it's a perspective thing or a real giant. It's interesting and questionable photo for sure. Here's my analysis. It seems like he's standing in front of the photos, causing his giant size appearance, and his feet have been cropped out of the picture. So if you look at the very bottom, there is a little bit of a dimple there, at the very left side. You just go straight down, kind of along his back side. Seems to be like a little bit of an indentation. So it's a little off. So is that quite exactly, they've cropped it out, or is it you just happen to be standing in that one place? Right. It's quite strange though, because I don't see any indication of photoshopping, and and as an artist, I can usually pinpoint evidence of Photoshop edits pretty easily. That's true. I mean, if you've been dancing with the pixels, and you zoom in, and you're looking right at pixel, an individual colored pixel, you can tell if something is out of place. There's moire patterns and everything that form at that time. So it's easy to see. So let me expand this thread a little bit. All right, so an artist knows a human body is 7.5 heads tall. So using the rule of thumb, I plotted out to see how he measured up. It seemed his feet should be hit the ground near the blue mark if he's approximately that proportionate person. Well, I would say this is not really the best way. Giants are disproportionate. If you see that they're elongated. So you might say he's more, giants, I would say, are more like 8 heads. and it really is because they do seem to be more stretched, in general. See, some of the tallest ones that seem to be proportional, they're still longer. So you can't take the average size of someone if someone is really a giant. All right. So notice there seems to be an indication of the feet on the ground where the reporters are standing, but no indication where the giant man is looking. So trying to point out some indication. These are I don't exactly see, unless she's really speaking up at these lines, right? That there's some spot. Well, like this looks like it's more like part of the tire, and this part looks like it's more that little indentation, the kind of like a ripple on the lake. So you can see a ripple on the lake under some of these reporters. But that's what I was pointing out here. He has one a little bit here on the left side, just down from his backside. So, okay. Seems like he's standing in front of the photo, causing a giant size appearance, and his feet have been cropped out of the picture. Again, I would say that's there does seem to be some different leveling going on there. It is an odd picture for certain. It's quite strange though, because I don't see any indication of photoshopping, and as an artist I usually pinpoint that's okay, right? So what do you think? Is it a giant standing in the same plane as the reporters? Is it the same sort of attempt of disclosure of the White House that giants do exist, or some sort of optical illusion? So anyway, so this is the photo. I went and I downloaded it directly from the White House Twitter page. Right? So I actually have a blow up here. So let me go ahead and present that to you guys. So here I'm focused in right on the giant. So, and I said giant 1, and the reason is I think I found a second giant way over here under this jet engine. Does it not look like there's actually a giant that's kind of like bending over? You could kind of see the tie right there. You kind of see a head, and it looks like either he's next to another giant, which could be a third giant over here because it's another head, or it's a hand that's resting on the jet engine. You know, so it could be two more giants over here. But yeah, if you look in here, I'm gonna zoom in. And just really focus in on the face portion here. So in these particular pixels, you can see one square is one color. That is a pixel. That is the detail at which this is put together to form an image. So it's very, very blurred when you look at it at this level, right? So this is why she doesn't seem to see that there's any kind of Photoshop edits, because you would actually see some odd placed ones. Everyone seems to be the right color for where it supposedly is. But this is definitely, if you look at this perspective, you can see that this is someone that's really out of proportion. So again, Trump coming down. If you want to look at the level of, see where their feet are, the people at the bottom, draw a straight line across. You can see there's some indication. Here's a little blue light that's spilling out over the tarmac. And you see it over right underneath the giant. There's this little discoloration under his feet. It's kind of that little dimple that's leading on, like he's standing there. Same as with the reporters, there seems to be some dimples into the tarmac. So it's very slight difference. And again, you know, another two giants over here, one bending over, or is that a hand? So can't quite tell. Right? But definitely some different perspective. So if this is some sort of change in the tarmac, I thought, you know, what is this all the ways over on the left over here? I think that's just the moon, actually. So why would this be on the White House? She said, are they trying to do a soft disclosure here? Hey, giants really exist. You kind of see the angle of like the photo of this photographer right here, the one with the big camera. You see there's actually kind of an angle to what he's looking at. I'm not really just drawing a square there, but from one side to the other, it looks like it's on the same thing. Let me draw a line. We'll start at the end of here. Oh, what is that? Why is it not letting me draw this? Okay, well, we do it this way. I'm trying to line up the angle at which this camera is angled at. It's very much a judgment call, but you can say it's right in this area. So just kind of, you know, looking at him right in the face. So I like to see the guy's camera pictures he's taken. So that definitely seems to be more of an angle. This over here, though, is more very much a level photograph. So what is that guy taking a picture of? So anyway, that's what I thought was interesting, right? Kind of out of the ordinary. So let's see what comes of this story. I'm going to switch around. I'll show you a couple more things here. Let me bring this up. It's an interview I took note of yesterday. Let's see, from right at this position.
And saved lives, and yet it seemed like they were more on China's side than the United States, we've got so much suspicion swirling around. I want to know how sinister this is. I mean, Beijing's reporting of the outbreak was clearly lying. City officials in Wuhan, where the virus originated, revising now its official death toll. Now it's suddenly overnight 50% higher than previously reported. The officials say earlier deaths were missed because of flooded medical facilities. I've been questioning everything that's come out of China every day. But let me ask you about if there's something more sinister here, because earlier in the week I reported on Monday that China had instituted new rules and regulations on the ground that were effectively delaying the export of the products that we need so much. So first, we know that they knew about the virus in December. We know that Wuhan lab was just a few miles from, which is what I pointed out over and over again. They hid it, they lied about it, downplayed it, and then at the same time, Congressman, they cornered the market on this protective equipment. What is this even more sinister than I thought?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. Well, let's stop there just for a moment. I just want to say, Maria seems to be on Fox, ahead of the curve. Whatever she focuses on, a couple weeks later, the rest of the media starts addressing. So, anyway, this is why I thought this was an interesting point. She's talking about China being sinister. Now, let's listen to McCarthy's response.
China's deception directly led to Americans' death. Not just America, but the rest around the world. They knew what happened here. They knew where it came from. They would have not opened up the wet markets again if they thought it came from the wet markets. But more importantly, they lied to the public, but they lied to their own people. I saw a report that it even talks about maybe 43,000 people in Wuhan died. What they did, they held up, just as you reported, they purchased all the medical equipment from PP&E, where they make 50% of it. And why they utilize this, because they know it's a challenge. But they're also utilizing this today to make sure they get a supply chain in the rest of the world from others.
So when he's saying PP&E, that's personal protective equipment. China went out and cornered the market, right? So that's why it's kind of important as a part of the sinister side of this. They went out and bought all the things that people need to protect themselves, personal protective equipment, the masks, the gowns, the face shields, and so on.
Reports from CEOs that if other countries, when they requested to purchase PPE, they request Huawei has to be allowed into their country for them to get this medical equipment.
So in order for China now to sell this to you, you have to make an agreement to use the Huawei equipment. Now, that's pretty sinister. That in itself, I'd say, is grounds to really change how things are going with China, to not have them in such a place of dominance in the world, to where they can basically have this stuff shape how policy is done. So, all right, I'm going to change something here. Flip the screen before we proceed any further. All right, here we go. All right, so
for a virus that they have infected the rest of the world in and cornered the market when it came to the personal protection equipment. That is what we're dealing with. President Trump, when he was candidate Trump, warned us about China. He's gone after China. If there's one thing that should unite America here together, is that we never let ourselves to be in this position again, from critical minerals and others, from the ingredients that go into our medicines. But the idea that China could put us in this problem, lie to the rest of the world, and now kind of corner the market and utilize that for the supply of what they have in medical equipment to get a better supply chain when it comes to technology to spy on other countries, that is something that we should not stand for nor allow, and change the direction.
So so to use the Huawei equipment to spy on other countries. So countries, you need to have our medical equipment that we can sell you and save your lives. If you want to buy some, you have to also take the Huawei spy equipment. Now let's say that the Huawei spy equipment, let's go a little more sinister than what McCarthy's basically laying out here, and just as speculation. Of course, there's a lot of evidence that's out there on the internet right now, and it's brewing out there, that this 5G equipment is what's actually causing massive amounts of the death. So in the countries like Italy, that's had such a huge amount of people dying from this pandemic, as they have the 5G, Huawei 5G, in a very big way throughout the country. So now that Trump basically shut down China's Huawei technology from spreading around the world, if you've been monitoring what's been going on over the last 3 years, Trump has said to other countries, you can't do business with us if you're using the Huawei technology. I don't know if you missed that or not, but they basically have been pushing all the countries to say, listen, if you're going to use Huawei, we can't do business with you because they're spying on you. They're spying on our conversations. And maybe there's more to it. Maybe there's a control element of this. Something dealing with the nanites in the vaccines and the 5G. So this is all speculation? Or is there enough out there, enough breadcrumbs laid out there to say there's a problem, especially looking through QAnon? Won't going to get into all of the QAnon today, but there are things that are being laid out there. Now, McCarthy is really showing where the tip of the spear is right now, right? Because this is addressing people directly in their homes about what is going on with China. Sinister China, extortion, blackmail, to get everyone to use China's supply chains. Let's continue. You only got a little bit more.
Unbelievable. So do you want a change in supply chains in a stimulus 4 package? Do you want this to be part of anything going forward, that companies take their supply chains out of China so we're not so reliant on them for these important products? Real quick.
Yes, and it's not just America, it should be rest of our allies as well. We should have a coordinated effort that takes all the supply chain out of China, brings it back to America, exactly what President Trump has been trying to do. Democrats try to delay every part about it, and that should we not stand for, and that's why another reason why we need to have the majority.
Also, just a little side note, looking in the title bar at the bottom here, where there shows the Dow Jones is up 700 points, 712 points, 3% for the day. Huge gains, huge. Now with the swings that have been going on, I mean, this basically dropped down, was it 2,100? A third of the market disappeared. You know, jumping up, 700 points in a day has been going on. So the market's already climbing back up, and we're going to break the 30,000 mark. We're going to go to 40 and 50,000. No doubt. No doubt. Okay.
Dan, can you hear me?
Oh yeah, I can.
Hey man, how's it going?
It's going good.
Sorry, I had some had some drama here in New York, so it took me a little while to get out of there.
Hey, no problem. You had to get out of New York. You had to escape from New York, or just the drama?
Oh, well, there's it's really interesting. I have a little 3-bedroom apartment, 5 people living there. It's gets a little crazy because they shut down the parks across the street, right, for the fake virus. They shut so the whole world is basically still, like, while the fake death numbers are
Oh, sure. Trump
lowering.
called them on that today and yesterday. So, like, does this make any sense? Look at all the death toll around the world. Their numbers around, and it's like China's way down here. So is this?
Oh yeah, and then it came out. The real numbers came out, right?
Yeah, so they're putting out the numbers and said it's like all these other countries are way up here and way like this. So, but China's down here at 0.3%. They're talking about per capita or per in relation to the total population in the area, things like that. What the death toll is percentage wise, and China being the epicenter. It's so just like it was like 0.3. Another number is coming out that I picked up on. It was, remember I said 0.2%, and I also said 0.02%. Well, now I've heard both numbers. So it's like I've heard 0.2% and 0.02%. So it's way down there, right? And again, it's the elderly, the people with compromised immune systems. There was no reason for us to call this a pandemic. The only pandemic that there is the fear from the mainstream media. So this is it.
The virus is without question it's amazing today because we've pulled together all of these really diligent anti-vax moms, right? And they've been protesting and doing all types of stuff, right? And for months now, I've been like, that is not the way, right? And now, after all this, and then to get to this point, which I predicted this exact thing happening, how they were going to try to do this, right? How they were going to try to pull this, and was telling people for months now, I'm like, this is what they're going to do. This is what they're going to try. They're going to try to. I mean, long before Corona was even on the scene.
Mm-hmm.
I was saying like they were trying to do it with Ebola. Now it's going to be like towards the end of December, it turned into Corona, right?
Yeah.
But so now finally, it's amazing. It's amazing. You never know what's going to click with people, right? Now they're all on board, right? There's like the assembly, the New York Assembly. I think there's already like 70 people that are going to be in the assembly.
Wonderful.
They've been trying for 20 years to put an assembly together here in New York, and there's going to be 70 people on this assembly, and you only need 30, right? And let's hope there's really 70. But to be honest, there could be 1,000,
right?
Because we set up a Facebook group, which were like our biggest critics. In like 3 days, I had to form a committee who handles social media now, for like the public relations for New York Assembly. They set up a New York Assembly Facebook group. It's already at like 500 people. So it would stand to reason that, people are catching on, right? Like, hey, I'm locked in my freaking house. I'm a prisoner.
Yeah.
I'm across the street right now, where I live, right? Across the street. And I'm looking at the whole football field. The superintendent here, she decided people were getting too close. They weren't observing the social distancing. I mean, come on. I mean, even President Trump, come on. Like, give me a break with this bullshit. Somebody say something about this. Like, come on. This is not going to stop anything. They were showing the protests in Germany. I don't know if you saw this video. Really great, right? They show how in Germany, how they're locking people down, terrifying, but there's no threat. Why are they doing it? Kim told me it's because they can't pay their mercenaries.
They can't pay the mercenaries. They can't pay people to get them to. So they said, well, you're going to all have to stay in your house because we can't predict what you're going to do now. Like assemble.
Right. Well, yeah, exactly. Like assemble, right. So
hey, I'm
going to call this hashtag Voltron.
I've got actually a protest that someone sent me in Telegram. It's only on Facebook, so they can't find it elsewhere. But a Breitbart reporter is actually reporting it. Let's see if I can. Let me share my screen so you can take a look at it. Okay, share. And for us over here, let me switch to this one. Or no, this one. I also showed the giant. Did you see the giant?
No.
You didn't see the giant on the Air Force One?
No. What? talking about.
Yeah, a giant on Air Force One. So let me switch over here. So it's showing the wrong thing here. This is it. Oh, Facebook. There it is. Okay, so I'm just gonna wind this back a little bit.
Packed cars are going back and forth, and they're honking their horns. There's plenty of signs. There's tons of people. So let's walk around. Let's talk to some people about why they're here, and get people's stories about how this is affecting their livelihoods.
This is Minnesota. So there's people assembling here, and look, they're keeping social distancing, 6 feet away.
Crazy packed. Both sides of the street. Here in Minnesota. We got Trump for Minnesota governor sign right across the street.
Become our governor. Don't mess with the food supply. All jobs are essential to the food chain. I don't know what they're showing the pig there, but all right. So anyway, that's one thing. So let me get back over. This is. Can you see this?
Whoa.
So this, yeah, this is Air Force One. This is the White House Twitter feed. It's just an image of it, right?
Right.
So I actually went and grabbed this image off of the White House Twitter feed. So if you just to confirm, right? I wanted to see what it was like. And this guy standing next to the jet engine is very much taller than these reporters. You could just say he's twice the size,
Yeah.
Right?
Wow! Holy cow!
Yeah, it's amazing, huh?
That's amazing.
Yeah, let me bring up. I gotta reshare this with you so you can see. I actually took the photo, and then I wanted to look in close and take a look. So here's giant number one. All right, now see this.
Jeepers creepers.
See this guy with the camera, and he's got kind of an angle to his camera angle, right? So it's kind of like pushing it right up into the middle of his face. It looks like he's pointed at him.
Right.
But what she didn't see, but what I saw, is over here underneath the second jet engine. Looks like it's maybe two more giants, or maybe it's a giant with a hand. So, but he's bent over, right? You can see like this. It looks like his feet at the bottom, and either his hand is on the jet engine, or that's a second face.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Right. So I can't quite make it out. When I go, let's get a little closer.
No, that's a guy. That's definitely a face.
It's
face.
definitely a face like this. Yeah. So it looks like there's just look at he's got a tie here. A little this white. Maybe it's a press badge or something like that. So and it looks like there might be maybe two more giants there.
Well, that one might be a stretch, but the other guy looks kind of like a giant.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I could give up on my second giant and third giant maybe over here, but
but I feel you.
But you come over here on this side. This is Trump coming down out of the plane, right? Consider the size of Trump if I just copied him out over here, right? If I just grabbed him and I put him over inside the jet engine, right? Oops.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
I mean, Trump's like 6'3", right? I mean, big guy.
He's a tall guy here. If I just make that kind of level of where he's at, and you can see like how tall he is comparatively. He'd fit inside this jet engine, and this guy is, obviously twice the size of the jet engine.
Yeah, he's definitely like. I mean, wow, that's huge. Interesting.
So anyway, that's a little bit. Is Trump trying to do a soft disclosure? You know, is that what this is
You know,
all
that'd be
about?
cool. That'd be cool.
Yeah, it would
Yeah,
be cool.
maybe. Well, you know, it's all kind of amazing that we're still playing this same game. You know, I mean, we know. It's like I talked to you know, one of our people, her husband's a fireman. She says every single person that, you know, like he gets called in, like from EMTs and stuff, right? It's all elderly population that are getting sick from corona, right? Compromised immune system, heavily medicated, elderly, right? But now they'll infiltrate the groups, right? And they'll say things like, you know, my sister's a nurse at the Nassau Hospital, an OR nurse, an ER nurse, and she's and there was a bunch of teenage kids, 18 and 19 years old, that came in and just died suddenly from coronavirus, right? But there's no answers, right? There's a county, no description as to what hospital it is or anything like that,
Right.
And then they disappear, right?
Right.
Don't answer questions and they're gone. So that's, you know, that's how you plant information, right? That's how you start rumors and you fuel a fear, right? It's like adding oxygen to a fire. So they just gaslight everything and you keep it going. And they just look for groups who are on the fence, right, in their thought process, and they're not sure what's going on, and you just keep lighting that flame. So after a while, they just think it's, you know, and then they even have the nerve to start calling it fake news that you don't believe in it.
Yep.
Right. It's like nobody. I mean, right now, they this one woman, she put out these statistics, right, from New York. And it was I can't remember exactly what they were, but they showed the number of people that tested positive for coronavirus was like, I don't know, 6,000 people. And then, oh wait, no, here it is. Okay. So the number of cases total, you know, it was like 117,000, right? Hospitalized was 30,000. Confirmed deaths was 7,563, right? And then probable deaths, another 4,000 that they put down, that they listed as deaths, right? So you're looking at about 11,000 deaths total, right? But in reality, it's like, what do you mean that's probable? 35% of those being counted as dying of COVID-19 actually tested negative. So they were tested even, and they tested negative, and they put it down as COVID anyways. So the numbers are inflated at least by 35%.
Right.
Right? And then, on top of that, of the people that are testing positive, right? You have a lot of them are asymptomatic, right?
Yep.
So what does that mean? If you don't have any symptoms and you're not sick, where did that coronavirus come from? I'll bet you if they did a correlation and they examined how many people got the flu shot, right? I bet you'd find a direct correlation.
I bet
so they intentionally poisoned the population.
Yeah, yeah. And there's such an amount of information coming out. So, and what McCarthy was saying on this, you know, was that it's obvious that China is doing something sinister, right? Because right now what they've done is first they you know, let's just say that it was a naturally occurring. You know, let's say it was put out in the back in flu shots or anything like that. Let's just say it came from the bat and the pig and whatever, and actually got into the population in China. Let's just leave that on the side. Let's just say that's all it was, as simple as nature gone amok. But China shut down travel within China from Wuhan. Didn't allow anyone to travel inside China and domestically, but allowed everyone to fly out by the tens of thousands of people into the rest of the world. A lot of which was Italy. A lot of which was Italy. So, and in Italy we had the of course that one Chinese guy that was there in the major tourist area holding up a sign, "Don't be racist," right? "Give me a hug." And he has a mask on, right? Right. Is there something sinister there? Because then what China did was, they bought up all the PPE, personal protection equipment. all the masks, the gowns, face shields, anything that you would need as a country to protect yourself, right? And then, while this is raging around the world, China says to everyone, this is what McCarthy's saying, if you want to buy this personal protection equipment, you have to also agree to use our Huawei 5G technology.
Wow. Did they really?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
That's what,
it's horribly sinister.
that's sinister, right? Why do they want you
I mean,
to
that
use
is-
this equipment, that may be the reason why people are actually dying,
Right.
right? And
Well, and
And-
then, jeez.
And
This
Trump
is
was
insane.
and Trump. I mentioned this already. Was it that Trump has said that if you and this is like from 2 years ago and on, it's basically painting the picture over time about how bad China was. Is that if you use Huawei technology, you can't do business with the United States. So Trump took
Right.
that away from them, and they're now saying, "Well, we're going to get it back." Because you want to
Yep.
if you want to live, and you're frightened, right, because of the fear virus we put out there, then you're going to have to use our personal protection equipment, or you're done for. And by the way, it just happens to be, a 500% increase in the price.
Well, in New York, now Cuomo was already outed, right? Back in 2016, he
Lost you, Tank. Hello, Tank. Hello. Como was outed. That's where we left off.
yeah,
here.
sorry. Cuomo was outed in 2016. He did, the classic, he invested all this money into all the state money into a solar power program that went nowhere. Now that's a very convenient bus, right? Because that's what Nancy Pelosi's husband did too, right? He got all his grant money and it just blew up. Now, the reason why you can do that with a grant, right, when you get grant money, is because with a grant, as long as you try to do it, right? So if you try to do something and you fail, well, hey, no harm, no foul, right? There's grant money anyways, right? It doesn't go anywhere. So you can basically take the money and just, cook the books and make it look like anything.
Sure.
So Cuomo did that, right? Cuomo also, he passes a mandatory vaccine and declares a state of emergency over the freaking measles, right? At the same time, the next day he signs a deal for $50 million for a personal whatever, personal project of his, for the government with Merck, right? They filter the whole thing. Now, then you take this most recently, right? He comes out and he's throwing a temper tantrum about what he needs from the government, right? So he's hitting up Trump for all the stuff he needs, right? I need this, I need that, it's crazy here, it's chaos, it's the epicenter of the pandemic, right? And Trump gives him everything, right? So then you find out he's got 30,000 ventilators that are hidden. What do you think's happening with it? Well, Kushner, meanwhile, is pulling in, right? He takes this position like running FEMA, and Kushner's grabbing all the ventilators and selling them back to other countries, and Cuomo's selling back masks for $7 a piece.
Yep.
It costs about $1.10.
Yeah.
Right? So creates a false flag of need. Possibly what he's doing is getting free equipment from the government and then selling it to other people at a huge markup.
Yeah.
Right? These countries that need it, places that need it.
Well,
And I think that is exactly what's going on.
these a little side note. Comparatively, I talked with my wife about the masks because my wife was on getting masks like right away. she normally she normally will have masks for working around outside and to prevent dust, or she'll wear she's out gardening, she'll wear a mask, right? So she's already buying, but she went out and bought a bigger supply when the first rumors of this happened, right? She bought a big box. I said, "What do you need that for?" So, but in comparatively the price, she was complaining about, it was before they were 7 pesos a piece. It's 50 pesos to the dollar, roughly.
Wow.
So 7 pesos a piece, and she was complaining that the price went up to 21 pesos, 3 times the price. Right. Well, that's like 40 cents or something like that. But anyway, so it basically just, but it went up, here as well. But the same mass everyone's, trying to get a hold of, right? So the N95 model. So anyway, but it seems like Cuomo was doing something sinister, right? He's still trying to make money. Right, he's trying to beat the fear drum, right, so that he can personally profit. Is that what you're saying here?
Well, yeah, I don't know if it's just personal profit. In all likelihood, it has to do with they're trying to declare war. They don't have the money to pay the mercenaries, right? So they can't do it. So the only thing they can do is use the only weapon they have, which is fear, right? So if you're using fear to keep everyone locked in their homes, because right now in their agenda, right, we know they follow their plan. So they're supposed to be having this, massive influx of Corona 66 that's supposed to be, really dangerous. That's what's supposed to be happening. But it can't happen, right, because it got blocked.
Yeah.
And Corona and the COVID-19 is not that dangerous. Right?
And by the way, just a little side note, and Qanon has been saying all this time, is that the wall, to build the wall, was much more than immigration. Right? So there's a lot of reasons to build this wall. I think that's up to 180 miles or something like that that so far has been built. While people are not paying attention, that's being built.
Right. Well, so you have the whole wall. I mean, like you have this whole thing with the corona. Now, at first, we were looking at ADRENOCHROME and how they tag people out. I don't even think those people are sick. I don't even think maybe ADRENOCHROME had something to do with it, but I don't think so. I think what's happening, or at least maybe it has something to do with it, but I think what they did was they were set to be sick, right? To create more awareness. Because when stars get sick, people pay attention, right? So this was part of the fear campaign. So you got everybody focused on this disease, and what they expected was, and I think it was reverse engineered on some level, that it didn't have the impact they hoped. It doesn't have the death toll because they were prepared for 2 million deaths.
Yeah.
2 million deaths.
Yeah. Just
in the U.S.
Right.
So I mean, think about it. They ran a practice scenario, right?
Yep.
So everybody would be prepared for what to do.
Event 201.
They ran. Right. And then on top of that, how do you call something a pandemic that you have a cure for?
Right.
That's been tested on, and if it's a pandemic, why would anyone fight it? And then Cuomo, on top of that, he blocks people from getting the Clariquin.
Yep.
Like, you couldn't call that anything but malicious intent.
Yep. It's sinister.
Clearly, right?
The word of today is sinister.
So,
yeah. Sinister intent.
Right.
So, I want to point out something. I got another Average Dan prediction. I'm going to bring up that Average Dan. But I think I want to wear, like Johnny Carson used to wear this big mystic, turban, right? As he do these predictions, pull out the animal. Okay, so this Average Dan prediction. We've been hearing from Trump talking about how well all of the testing is, how much better the tests are, right? And how more precise they are. He keeps saying this, like how much more precise. I wonder if it's also testing for covfefe. Testing for whether or not you are taking adrenochrome, and you have the Covex with adrenochrome. Right. So the covfefe is, the iron with the COVID with iron and ferritin. So this covfefe, if it's testing for that, it's identifying everyone So when they're rolling this new test out, and they're up to, I think, 1 million tests a day, right? But they can do it, and that's increasing. And he says, and the capacity is here. So now Trump is saying, he said today, we've helped the states identify their extra testing facilities, their capacity within their own states, private hospitals, private research facilities. We have the capacity. Here, we're going to help you do the testing. Pushing out their tests. I think they're going to be testing for Covfefe so they can find everyone who is evil. It's an evil test or a sinister test. Just to average Dan prediction. I got to get a new backdrop for this. I'm going to do some more predictions. But anyway, I'm just something I'm picking up on, right? I don't know. Again, I'm just a prediction, speculation, something that is just pieces of breadcrumbs laying around that I'm throwing together, and let's see if they stick.
Yeah. Wow. I think you're right on them.
Could be. It could be. Yeah. This is when Trump is emphasizing something repeatedly, you have to take notice. All right. Especially when it's their own weapons. All right. The testing is their weapon. In Sun Tzu, The Art of War, right? You want to turn their weapons against them. Their strengths, turn it against them. Their strength was get everybody tested. Because if everybody's tested and all the tests are tainted, or at least 30% of the population has it, oh my goodness, the fear. Right? So this kind of testing is being pushed out there. So it's their weapon. So use their weapon against them. Okay, we're not going to use those tests that the WHO gave us. Dr. Who. Don't want to do that. Dr. Who's a good guy. But they don't want to use those tests, right? We've got better tests, more accurate tests. And what is it accurate for? In 5 minutes, they can tell whether if you are infected with Covfefe. So that's the counter plague against evil, Covfefe.
Right. Wow. Yep. So, so I don't know. Now I'm kind of like, well, what's next? What's going to happen?
Well, I'm thinking that we're going to see more coming from Trump. I started the broadcast today talking about Trump giving 2 speeches at the same time. He starts speaking about the virus, and he pauses mid-sentence and starts another speech about the invisible enemy. And he was saying and one of the things he said today was, in his second speech, in the mix of the other, is, I can speak directly to the people now because they have to listen to me, because they have to broadcast this. So I'm speaking to you directly because they're not going to put this on the news.
Right.
So he's definitely telling people, listen, I'm giving you more information here. I have 2 streams going here.
Right.
This is the battle we've won, right? Then the front line over here, we're winning this battle against the virus, but we're still dealing with this. So I noticed that yesterday, is that he really made this difference of, like, we're winning over here, but we're still in the midst of this really big battle. And 184 countries were all fighting over here. And there's 195 countries. So who are the 11 countries we're fighting against? He also called out Kerry again today and said that Kerry was interfering and went against the Logan Act, interfering with Iran. I also noticed that there's different people in the press audience today. So, like, CNN didn't appear to be there, for example, but some other people were. Now, I don't know how they're choosing them. Maybe it was just the weekend. I just thought, well, that's kind of unusual. Jim Acosta wasn't there, right? He also knows he's not answering any of Jim Acosta's questions directly. He's turning all of Jim Acosta's questions back on him. Right? Tell him he's fake news, whatever. Right? But whatever he's doing, he's saying, why don't you do this? Why don't you be honest? Why don't you do? So it's kind of a consistent attack that he's taking. So there's definitely something going on in these press conferences, this task force briefings. And so I think we should just try and maybe listen to this as a side-by-side speech, right? And really just break them apart and get the two messages.
Yeah.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good thing to bring up.
Well, anything from Kim today?
I can double check. I don't think so.
I've got something from Kim.
Really... Oh, good. Tell me.
Well, this is not directly from Kim. It's from your website, the Speak Project. There's this timeline. Let me go ahead and let me pull this timeline up here. It's the history of planet Earth. Do you know what's on the website?
I'm not sure what's on there today.
Okay.
You talking about the timeline of Kim's stuff?
Yeah.
What everything she's been through?
Yeah. Here, let me share it with you. Seems like this is a new section. So breaking news. ProjectSpeak.net Kim-possible-timeline. The history of planet Earth. So it starts here at 16,500 years ago. A war was raging between several of the 5 to 7 existing different tribes who were living on Earth at that time. As it was very difficult to win this war, one of the original tribes made a deal with an extraterrestrial beings known as the Alpha Draconians or the Draco Reptilians because of their reptile-like appearance. To obtain advanced Draco weapon technology in return for a major position on Earth. They signed a covenant that would last 16,500 years, ending in 2012. So that's how it goes. So I think it's excellent. I read through it. All right, it goes side by side here. The global martial law, explanation of the trusts, signs of change. Project Looking Glass, identifying Kim, some information about Kim, and then the Mana World Holding Trust, and then the 2012, the end of the covenant, right? And then Draco being forced from Earth, leaving behind Marduk, peace treaty, Kingdom of Mana, and what happened with the Kingdom of Mana, then the quantum financial system, and then the key integrated monetary system, and the key intelligence and military system, and then a letter from Kim, or message from Kim. So I think this is excellent material for anyone. I'm sending this to my daughter today.
No, that is definitely good. Yeah. No, I didn't realize they just put it up today. It's something that we've worked on for a while.
Yeah,
try to match things up.
Yeah, I hoped I was going to catch.
Cool.
I hoped I would catch you off guard on this one.
Yeah, our team works so much, and I've been very preoccupied with the actual assembly stuff. So
yeah,
haven't had much time for anything else, guys. So, but I feel good about what's going on with the assembly. So hopefully that helps make some progress.
Well,
I do have some information, but I don't think it's supposed to be out publicly because I don't even think I'm supposed to know it. So
okay, okay. Well, let's not talk about that. But I do I do think it is interesting to see the number of people that are now protesting, like in Minnesota there, Breitbart doing that report on Facebook. So, if there was someone there that could pass out information about assembly, so I think, having a quick brochure that people can print off, if you're, and
Yep.
off of their printer, go out to these crowds and say, listen, we're forming assemblies nationwide. We've got to basically, remove these stupid people that are politicians' plague that we're underneath. I think this is the real time that people can now stand up. Have a central place for people to contact, and then get them started. Here's the materials. We'll provide you the materials you need to do assembly. It's under the law of the Constitution, and boom. Suddenly we're going to get it in every county, not just in every state. Everybody has the time right now. There is no other time than right now to do this. Right? We've got this window. We've got to take action.
We've got Massachusetts right behind us, New Jersey and Pennsylvania, all looking to set up their assemblies, right? Massachusetts is already in the process, so is New Jersey. And just there was one guy who reached out to me from Pennsylvania. I don't, we had somebody reliable, or we thought was reliable there, but it's not. Then we need 37 states. Now, if we have 37 states, everything, all the power goes back to the people. I mean, we can change everything, because now there is a significant force and there is a common practice.
Well,
and we can finally take our right to assemble and actually assemble an organized platform to have a voice, to redress the grievances of the people, get rid of child protective services, stop them from putting fluoride in the water, get rid of mandatory vaccines altogether, remove any official that tries to impose anti-constitutional, anti-human laws on us immediately. And they don't have the money to pay their mercenaries to put us down. So.
Yep. So this is they're weak, right? They're pretending they're strong. They are weak. We are strong. So this is the time to make the move. So in the midst of the battle, this is when when all the light is shining on the actual situation. We'll show we're strong. We have the strength. It's like they're showing that everyone is now protesting. Even they're driving in their cars in a circle. Hey, we now take the next step. Form the assembly. So how do they get in touch with you, Tank?
If you want to get in touch with me, you can write me at tank@lawfulamerica.com. Or, that's a good way to do it.
Okay.
Yeah. Most people have my number. Yeah, you can.
I got it.
Just
Just for see how many people are making to this. And please spread this message out. Right, get this video put out there so everyone else can jump into it. Right, and so there's a lot of contact information also down below in the description of this video.
Absolutely. All right, Dan. Sorry for being late, man. Just a little crazy here. So, everybody, have a great night. And Dan, I am expecting great news tomorrow, and I'll talk to you then.
All right. Well, why don't you hang on a minute, and then we'll stop the broadcast. Okay.
Sure. Yeah, we can talk. Yep.
All right. Bye, everybody.